Thursday, you think you will discuss the matter?
Well, my Lord, the instructions I have is that National Assembly was on recess, but the main committee has continued to work. That is why they have republished the bill. The Senate republished the bill last week. The only thing, my Lord, I think involved in this issue, especially which will affect the Council of Governors, is the quantum. And that will be the discussion between the Senate and the National Assembly. My Lord, you know that this process cannot be kick-started again before the bills are published and considered, one by the relevant committee and two by the House. And it's at that juncture when now the discussions which are here can now move forward. So I confirm, my Lord, my instructions were that by Thursday, at least the National Assembly will be able to reconsider the division of revenue, the republished bill again. I don't know for the Senate. My colleague can confirm.
My Lord, the Senate already had a first reading on Thursday last week, and it's also in the order paper for today. But the reason we'd like the court to pronounce itself is there's also been a lengthy mediation process so far, and we've not been able to agree on how, when we disagree on the recommendations from the Commission on Revenue Allocation, how do we proceed? So those are now constitutional legal issues that the court can guide, but I confirm we are willing to sit with the National Assembly and have the discussion. What we propose is we still have a hearing date for this opinion, so that if that process does not resolve the issue, this court can still guide the parties, because it's not Parliament that's currently suffering, it's the counties, and at the end of the day, it's the citizens. So we propose that we still have a hearing date as that process is ongoing.
Ladies and gentlemen, correct me if I'm wrong. My understanding is that the operations of the counties are literally at a standstill. Is that not correct? That's correct. You know, ordinarily, these kind of missions are done by the Deputy Registrar. But I have had to take it over to mention the matter because of the importance and the urgency of the matter involved. We have had a meeting this morning as judges of the Supreme Court. And I want to tell you that we feel reluctant to come into this kind of process. Because, this is a legislative process that the two houses should carry out on their own and finalize. I'm not saying we can't come in. If we have to come in. But I'm telling you that the judges are saying, look, why is Parliament dragging us into a matter that is actually theirs, that they should resolve? I would like to give you a few days, Mr. Mwendo and Mr. Tanji. As I said, you are the main players, and discuss this matter.
My Lord, you started off by saying, if I'm wrong, let me know. Reluctantly, I stand on my feet to say, my Lord, that there are certain aspects that even with all the goodwill from the bench, will not be able to achieve much. All that my learned friends Mr. Mwenda is talking about is one aspect, quantum. There are so many other aspects that my learned friends have raised. We cannot discuss them. And even if we try to discuss them, we'll still be discussing until next year. My Lord, the time has come for the Supreme Court as the apex court to guide this nation. When so many of my friends say we still need a hearing, it's because we are aware that the movement of the Supreme Court as the apex court must be called to come into that advisory role. My Lord, what we could do with tremendous respect is this. Allow us to have a hearing date. between now and the hearing date, whatever little aspects that can be resolved will be resolved. But these matters that we have raised will not be resolved. They can only be resolved by the apex court. So, my Lord, maybe instead of a hearing date tomorrow, as you had indicated, let us have a hearing date later in the week. Or even Monday next week. That's what Mr. Kamoso is suggesting. But please do not tell us to go and discuss. That, my Lord, is throwing us into the deep sea, and their huge sharks will perish. Mr. Kamoso says he wants to add something.
My Lord, I think it's also important to be clear that the republished bills do not raise any new issues. These are issues that were mediated and mediation failed. So there is no anticipation that the two houses, which were unable to agree on the same numbers after a formal mediation required by the Constitution, are now going to mediate again and find a solution. It may be possible miracles still happen, but my Lord, I expect that we'll be back here having failed. And one of the issues that this advisory raises is what happens if mediation fails. And so what we are doing is anticipating a problem because of the crisis, the national crisis that we are in. So in a sense, it's unfortunate that we are asking the court to be involved in a matter ideally that should not be before this court. But it's a crisis that requires resolution of the third arm of government because the other arms of government have been unable to resolve. It's unfortunate, but that is the situation we find ourselves in. And even if we are given time, I can almost guarantee that we'll come back here and say we've been unable because we have been on this path for the last 3 months. Thank you, my Lord.
Perhaps, my Lord, with your indulgence, I can correct one impression which has been created to the public to believe that the counties are deprived of funds. My Lord, a situation like this, and as you have correctly pointed out, was anticipated when the Public Finance Management Act was being enacted. And my Lord, when you retire, you can look at our response. Specifically, paragraph 56. We have clearly indicated that the Public Finance Management Act authorizes access by all the county governments of up to 50% of the amount equivalent to what they had budgeted for the last financial year, as this situation is being resolved. My Lord, it is in the law, and I think the Council of Governors have proper legal advice. My Lord, you will also note that this is not the last time a situation like this have arisen. In the year 2014, the Division of Revenue Bill was enacted and ascended to in September. My Lord, that is a fact, which the Council of Governors can confirm. So, my Lord, in a crisis, we are here because, my Lord, I think even the law anticipates that a situation which is almost covered by politics could reach here, and they have an opportunity to explore what the law provides, so that the governor should not mislead the. They have closed offices. The law allows them to access up to 50%. And I'm sure the last financial year, which was 2017-2018, all the county governments at Ambanje